It's a typical Tuesday morning. You're sipping coffee, scrolling through your phone. Suddenly, breaking news flashes across the screen. Reports of violent attacks flood in from all over. People are biting each other, the victims aren't dying, they're getting back up and attacking others. Your mind races. This can't be happening, but it is. The zombie apocalypse has begun. You've seen this in movies, read about it in books, but now it's real. The world as you know it is about to end. Your heart pounds, sweat beads on your forehead. What do you do? Where do you go? Who can you trust? These questions swirl in your mind as panic sets in. The unthinkable has become reality. Time seems to stand still, but you know every second counts. The infection is spreading fast. Soon the streets will be overrun. You need to act now. Grab supplies, find weapons, secure shelter. Your survival instincts kick in. It's time to face the zombie apocalypse head on. The world has changed forever, and you must change with it. This scenario might seem far-fetched, but it's one that has captivated our imaginations for decades. From George Romero's Night of the Living Dead to AMC's The Walking Dead, zombies have been a staple of pop culture. Now we'll explore what might really happen if the dead rose to feast on the living. Buckle up, it's going to be a wild, terrifying ride through the end of the world as we know it. Every apocalypse has a beginning. For the zombie outbreak, it starts with patient zero. Maybe it's a lab accident or a mutated virus. Perhaps it's a bioweapon gone wrong. Whatever the cause, one person becomes the first zombie. And from there, all hell breaks loose. The infection spreads like wildfire. One becomes two, two become four, and soon the numbers explode exponentially. At first, no one understands what's happening. Hospitals are overwhelmed with bite victims. Doctors are baffled by the symptoms: high fever, aggression, an insatiable hunger for human flesh.
The infected don't respond to treatment. Instead, they turn on the medical staff. Chaos erupts in emergency rooms across the country. The truth becomes clear: this is no ordinary disease, it's something much, much worse.
As the first zombies begin to roam the streets, panic sets in. People don't know how to react. Some try to help the infected, not realizing the danger. Others run in terror. The police are called, but they're not prepared for what they find. Bullets don't stop these attackers. They keep coming, driven by an unstoppable hunger. The infection spreads faster than anyone can contain it. News of the outbreak hits social media before official channels can respond. Shaky cell phone videos show the horror unfolding, zombies attacking in broad daylight, people fleeing in terror. The internet explodes with speculation and fear. Is this real? Is it a hoax? The truth is too terrifying for many to accept, but as the evidence mounts, denial turns to dread. The zombie apocalypse is here and no one is safe. As realization sets in, society reacts with blind panic. It's like a scene from World War Z. People flood the streets, trying to escape the cities. Traffic jams clog every major highway. Horns blare, tempers flare. In the chaos, accidents pile up, and each crash becomes a potential feeding ground for the infected. The zombies capitalize on the confusion, their numbers growing with each passing hour. Stores are ransacked as people scramble for supplies. Water, canned food, batteries, anything that might help them survive disappears from shelves. Fights break out over the last loaf of bread. The thin veneer of civilization cracks under the pressure. People who were neighbors yesterday become enemies today, competing for scarce resources. The zombie threat brings out both the best and worst in humanity.
Meanwhile, misinformation spreads almost as fast as the zombie virus. Social media becomes a breeding ground for conspiracy theories and bad advice. Some claim it's a government plot, others insist it's divine punishment. Fake cures and prevention methods go viral, causing more harm than good. In the absence of clear information, fear and paranoia take hold. Trust in institutions crumbles as quickly as society itself.
Those who can flee to the countryside hoping to escape the densely populated danger zones, but they unknowingly carry the infection with them. Small towns and rural areas, initially safe, soon face their own outbreaks. No place is truly secure. The realization dawns that this isn't a localized problem. It's a global pandemic. And as night falls on the first day of the apocalypse, the world holds its breath, wondering what horrors the darkness will bring. As the crisis unfolds, all eyes turn to the government for answers. But like in The Walking Dead, official response is slow and inadequate. Emergency meetings are called, task forces are formed, politicians argue over the best course of action, but while they debate, the zombies multiply. The bureaucracy that usually moves at a snail's pace is completely overwhelmed by the speed of the outbreak. By the time decisions are made, it's already too late. Military forces are deployed to major cities. They set up quarantine zones and checkpoints, but soldiers trained for human enemies find themselves woefully unprepared for the undead. The zombies feel no fear, obey no orders, and can't be reasoned with. Traditional tactics fail, and with each military defeat, more soldiers join the ranks of the infected. The very forces meant to protect the public become a threat themselves.
Governments around the world implement lockdowns and curfews. They urge citizens to stay indoors and avoid contact with others. Emergency broadcasts provide instructions on how to identify and avoid the infected. But conflicting information from different sources leads to confusion and distrust. Some people obey the lockdowns, others rebel, believing their freedoms are being infringed upon. This lack of unity further hampers efforts to contain the outbreak.
As the situation spirals out of control, international cooperation breaks down, borders are closed, travel is banned. Each nation turns inward, focusing on its own survival. The global economy grinds to a halt, supply chains collapse, and in the power vacuum that follows, opportunistic groups begin to emerge. Survivalist cults, armed militias, self-proclaimed new governments. The official response crumbles, and humanity is left to fend for itself in a world overrun by the undead. Section 5. The Fall of Civilization. With governments overwhelmed and military forces in disarray, the pillars of civilization begin to crumble. Essential services are the first to go.
Power grids fail as workers abandon their posts. Darkness engulfs cities once bright with life. Water treatment plants shut down. Clean water becomes a precious commodity. Sewage systems back up, creating breeding grounds for disease. The infrastructure we take for granted vanishes almost overnight.
Communication networks are next. Cell towers go offline, internet services sputter and die. TV and radio stations fall silent one by one. The flow of information so crucial in a crisis slows to a trickle. Isolated pockets of humanity are left in the dark, unsure if anyone else has survived. The silence is broken only by the moans of the undead and the desperate cries of the living.
It's a chilling echo of the world depicted in Cormac McCarthy's The Road.
Law and order collapse as police forces are overwhelmed. Looting becomes rampant. Crimes go unpunished. The strong prey on the weak. Prisons are abandoned, releasing inmates into the chaos. Some band together for survival. Others use the apocalypse as an excuse to indulge their darkest impulses. The thin line between civilization and savagery is erased. In this new world, the only law is survival.
Education and culture fall by the wayside. Schools close their doors. Museums are looted or abandoned. Libraries burn. Centuries of human knowledge and achievement are lost or forgotten as people focus solely on staying alive. The arts, sciences, and humanities that once defined us as a species become luxuries no one can afford.
The zombie apocalypse doesn't just threaten our lives, it threatens to erase everything that makes us human.
Section 6. Survival 101. Staying alive in a dead world. In this new reality, survival becomes the only goal. The rules you once lived by no longer apply. You need to adapt or die.
First priority, secure the essentials. Water, food, shelter, find a defensible location, stockpile supplies. Every day is a struggle to meet basic needs.
The skills that were valuable in the old world mean nothing now. A CEO is no better off than a janitor. What matters is your ability to find resources and avoid the undead.
Learning to scavenge becomes crucial. Abandoned homes, stores, and warehouses become treasure troves. But each expedition is a risk. Zombies could be lurking anywhere. You need to move quietly, stay alert.
Learn to hotwire cars for quick getaways. Master the art of barricading doors and windows. Develop a sixth sense for danger. Those who can't adapt quickly become zombie food. It's survival of the fittest in its purest form.
Physical fitness takes on new importance. You need to be able to run, climb, and fight. The zombies never tire. You have to outlast them.
Learn to sleep lightly, always ready to move at a moment's notice. Develop your stamina. Practice parkour to navigate urban obstacles. Train in hand-to-hand combat for close encounters. Your body becomes your most valuable weapon and tool. Keep it honed and ready.
Mental toughness is just as important as physical strength. The constant stress and fear can break even the strongest minds. You need to stay focused, make quick decisions. Hesitation means death.
Learn to control your emotions, to act rationally in the face of horror. Develop coping mechanisms to deal with the trauma and loss. Those who can't handle the psychological toll of the apocalypse often choose to join the ranks of the undead voluntarily.
Stay sharp, stay sane, stay alive. Section 7, Weapons and Tools Arming Against the Undead. In the fight against zombies, choosing the right weapons is crucial. Firearms are effective but have drawbacks. Guns are loud, attracting more zombies. Ammo is finite and becomes scarce. Silenced weapons are ideal. Crossbows, like Daryl's in The Walking Dead, offer silent, reusable ammunition, but they require skill and time to reload. Melee weapons become popular. Baseball bats, crowbars, machetes, anything that can crush a skull without needing to be reloaded. Improvised weapons and tools are essential. Learn to make Molotov cocktails for crowd control, fashion spears from broom handles and kitchen knives. Create traps using household items. Your creativity becomes your best asset. Look at everyday objects as potential weapons. A frying pan isn't just for cooking anymore, it's a zombie skull-crushing tool. Always be on the lookout for items you can repurpose for survival. Protection is just as important as offense. Learn to create effective armor from everyday materials. Duct tape magazines to your arms and legs. Wear thick leather jackets. Motorcycle helmets offer great protection against bites. Cover any exposed skin. A single scratch could mean infection, but balance protection with mobility. You need to be able to run and fight without being weighed down. Don't forget about tools for survival beyond weapons. Bolt cutters for accessing locked areas. Crowbars for prying open doors and crates. Binoculars for scouting. Maps for navigation when GPS fails. First aid kits become worth their weight in gold. Learn basic medical skills, how to stitch wounds, set bones, treat infections. In a world without doctors, these skills can mean the difference between life and death. Your toolkit is just as important as your arsenal in the zombie apocalypse. Section 8, Safe Havens, Finding Shelter in the Apocalypse. In a world overrun by zombies, finding a safe place to rest is crucial. But what makes a good shelter? High ground is ideal. Zombies can't climb well. Apartment buildings with secure ground floors become fortresses. Islands offer natural protection.
Think of the prison in The Walking Dead. Walls, fences, anything to keep the undead out. But remember, other survivors might try to take what you have. Your safe haven needs to be defensible against both the dead and the living.
Water and food sources are essential for any long-term shelter. A place near a clean river or lake is ideal. Learn to purify water, set up rain catchment systems. For food, look for locations with arable land. Start gardens, learn to fish and hunt. Greenhouses can provide year-round crops. Stock up on seeds, they'll be more valuable than gold in the new world.
Your safe haven should be self-sustainable. Relying on scavenging alone is a short-term solution. Security goes beyond physical barriers. Set up early warning systems, tripwires with noisemakers, lookout posts. Train everyone in the shelter to be vigilant.
Establish clear protocols for admitting new people. Be cautious but not inhuman. Turning away all outsiders might keep you safe, but at the cost of your humanity. Find a balance between security and compassion. Your safe haven should protect more than just your body, it should preserve your soul.
Remember, no place is 100% safe forever. Be prepared to leave at a moment's notice. Have bug-out bags ready. Establish rally points and alternate shelters. Practice evacuation drills. The zombie horde is always moving, always hungry. Today's safe haven could be tomorrow's death trap.
Stay alert, stay mobile, and never ever let your guard down. In the zombie apocalypse, complacency is a luxury no one can afford. Section 9, The New Normal, Life After the Fall. As weeks turn to months, survivors begin to adapt to the new reality. Daily routines emerge, centered around security and resource gathering. Dawn patrols sweep the perimeter, clearing any zombies that have gathered overnight. Scavenging parties head out, bringing back supplies. Gardens are tended, repairs are made to fortifications.
Every day is a struggle, but humans are nothing if not adaptable. A new kind of normal begins to take shape. Social structures evolve to meet the demands of this harsh new world. Leadership is based on ability, not pre-apocalypse status. Those who can hunt, fight, or heal become invaluable. Knowledge is power.
People with practical skills, Mechanics, engineers, farmers find themselves in high demand. Book learning takes a back seat to hands-on experience. The social hierarchy is completely reshuffled. In this new world, a skilled plumber is more valuable than a former CEO.
Communities begin to form, much like in The Walking Dead. Survivors band together for safety and companionship. New social norms develop. Resources are shared. Labor is divided. Makeshift governments are established. Some communities thrive, creating pockets of relative safety and stability. Others fall to infighting or external threats.
The success of a community often depends on its ability to balance security with humanity. Those that become too ruthless in their survival often destroy themselves from within.
Education takes on new forms. The young are taught survival skills alongside basic reading and math. History lessons focus on how the world fell and how to prevent it from happening again. Art and music become valued as rare sources of joy in a bleak world. Oral storytelling makes a comeback as books become scarce. Every survivor becomes a living library, preserving knowledge for future generations.
The goal is not just to survive, but to rebuild, to create a new civilization from the ashes of the old.